Hello, good citizens of the internet. Much respect to you. Welcome back to Results-Driven Fitness Systems. And today we are helping you touch your toes. Welcome back to Results-Driven Fitness here in Monroe, New York. Hopefully you're following us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and if you're not, connect. We want to meet you and know what impact we've made on you, if we've made any. We're happy to meet the people who give us their attention, so thank you for joining us. Today, we are working on getting you to touch your toes.
Earning the toe touch is the first step to performing a kettlebell swing. And if we actually step that back, if you can't touch your toes, you have no business learning the hinge pattern.
So the first step to touching your toes here at Results Driven is just getting movement screened. The screen we're looking at is the active straight leg raise. And we want you to hit a 2 or higher on that screen, and that lets us know that your hips just move well.
Once we know your leg raise is good enough, we want to make sure you can touch your toes pain-free. To reiterate why you need the toe touch for the hinge, the toe touch is testing your ability to control a posterior weight shift, meaning moving your hips back and control and segment your spine. If you can't do that, shouldn't be adding weight to it.
So there are going to be instances where people have a pain-free leg raise but have a painful toe touch. So if you're in pain, we want you to avoid certain things. The first thing we want you to avoid is foam rolling the area that hurts. Don't do that. The next thing we would want you to do is don't think that tape or some kind of brace is going to fix it. And the last thing we would want you to avoid is using anti-inflammatories to mask something which actually could be a medical or orthopedic issue. What you should do if you have a painful toe touch is seek out a medical professional, especially one that has a background in movement or exercise.
If you don't have pain or you've put in the work, he's excited, you've put in the work to clear the pain, the next step would be to improve mobility with a movement like a Spider-Man stretch. The next step is to work on static stability. Really just improve your ability to control your hips when they're still. You can use movements like a half kneel, AR press, halo, or chop. After you teach the hips how to be under control when they're still, you want to teach them how to be under control when in motion. So we'd work on dynamic stability drills for the hips like leg lower or quadruped diagonal.
Now that we're working on improving your movement in those patterns, we'd want to increase your work capacity as well. So we'd use exercises like a sled push, a loaded carry. We would do something like a squat or a split squat, and that'll help even further ingrain your ability to control your hips.
We just want to be clear here, we're not trying to do a bunch of rehab-like exercises when people's goals are to come in and drop fat and get strong. What we're doing is we're working on what your biggest movement deficit is, and at the same time, increasing that work capacity is just going to increase your ability to have those movement changes stick while actually working towards your other goal of getting strong, living a better life, and dropping fat.
Once we follow this progression, you want to be rechecked to make sure you're actually moving the dial. Sometimes we go through something like this and it doesn't work. We're not magicians, we're just trainers. So sometimes our tricks don't make the change that we're looking for, and then we have to rescreen and look deeper to see if there's something that we're missing.
At Results Driven, we use the functional movement screen to check immediately to see if we get a change so that you don't waste your time on a bunch of drills that don't work. If you don't have access to somebody to do the functional movement screen for you, simple things like videotaping your leg raise or having somebody measure how close you are to touching the floor and see if those drills work.
So if you can't touch your toes or your leg raise needs work, you have homework to do.
I hope you wrote down that homework, and if you're somebody that can already touch your toes and has a solid leg raise, check back next week and see how we teach the deadlift.